A strange contradiction is unfolding right now. On one hand, surveys show that a massive percentage of households are living paycheck to paycheck. Emergency savings are thin, credit card balances are rising, financial anxiety is common. On the other hand, luxury car dealerships are reporting record demand. High-end brands are selling out limited releases. Social media feeds are flooded with designer labels, international vacations, and curated lifestyles that scream success. So which is it? Are we broke or booming? The uncomfortable answer is this: many people are financially fragile while simultaneously trying to look financially powerful. We are living in the era of performative wealth, and that performance is expensive. The gap between appearing rich and actually being secure has never been wider. Real wealth today is quiet. It blends in. It doesn't announce itself. But financial insecurity is loud. It leases the car. It upgrades the phone. It buys the logo. It posts the highlight reel. And here's the difficult question. What if trying to look wealthy is the very thing preventing you from becoming wealthy? Let's break this down. The first reason looking poor, or at least unremarkable, matters is because it simplifies your financial structure. Every single thing you own carries hidden weight. A $70,000 luxury vehicle is not just a purchase price, it is premium insurance, specialized maintenance, faster depreciation, higher fuel costs, and increased stress over scratches, dents, and theft. Over 5 years, that vehicle can quietly cost closer to $100,000 when everything is accounted for. Meanwhile, that same capital invested consistently into broad market funds historically doubles roughly every decade. That's not motivational advice, that's math. Yet most people experience something known as lifestyle inflation. Every raise gets absorbed. The nicer apartment replaces the old one, the upgraded car replaces the paid-off one. Subscriptions accumulate silently. You feel richer because your income rose, but your freedom didn't. This effect has been studied for centuries. A philosopher once described receiving an elegant robe as a gift. Instead of enjoying it, he began replacing everything else in his home to match its beauty. The new robe made his old furniture feel inadequate. One purchase created a cascade of upgrades. The same thing happens today. You buy a premium phone, and suddenly your laptop feels outdated. You move into a nicer building, and suddenly your furniture looks cheap. Your brain recalibrates normal. The baseline shifts upward. And once your baseline shifts, anything below it feels like deprivation, even if it used to feel like abundance. Financial freedom isn't about how much you earn, it's about how little you require. If your monthly expenses are $3,500 instead of $9,000, your options multiply. You can walk away from bad work environments. You can experiment. You can negotiate. That flexibility is financial runway. A low burn rate extends that runway dramatically. When your lifestyle demands constant income, you lose leverage, and leverage is everything. The second reason it matters is brutally simple. It's cheaper. The modern economy is engineered around consumption. Roughly 70% of economic output is driven by spending. That means the system depends on you buying things, and it has become extremely efficient at convincing you to do exactly that. Marketing is no longer basic advertising, it is behavioral science. Scarcity tactics, urgency triggers, emotional targeting. Your current device works perfectly fine, but the new one has marginally improved specs. Your wardrobe is functional, but a rebrand makes it feel outdated. Subscriptions are especially dangerous. $10 here, $15 there. Streaming services, software tools, food delivery perks, fitness apps. Individually insignificant, collectively draining. Then there's installment culture. Buy now, pay later. A $300 impulse purchase becomes 4 smaller payments. It feels manageable, but multiplied across dozens of purchases, it becomes a constant financial leak. At the same time, emergency savings remain thin for many households. Credit card interest rates hover above 20% for many borrowers. That's negative compounding. People confuse income with wealth. Someone earning $180,000 annually while spending $175,000 is not wealthy. They are exposed, one disruption away from crisis. Every dollar spent today has an opportunity cost. If you redirect even $250 per month into long-term investments, averaging modest returns, the long-term impact is dramatic. Increase that to $500. Now you are looking at a six-figure difference over time. And here's the deeper shift. The wealthy often see money not as fuel for consumption, but as employees. Each dollar can either serve you long-term or entertain you briefly. Consumption removes capital. Investment multiplies it. That mental shift from "what can I buy" to "what can this money build" changes everything. The third reason is social. Your environment heavily influences your spending patterns. Behavioral economists refer to this as spending contagion. When your peer group upgrades, you feel subtle pressure to keep pace. Expensive dinners become routine. Weekend trips become expected. Celebrations become more elaborate each year. Nobody explicitly forces you to participate, but opting out feels uncomfortable, so people stretch. Weddings, bachelor parties, milestone birthdays, these events escalate. What used to be modest becomes extravagant. Financial boundaries feel socially risky, and so people fund experiences they cannot afford to preserve relationships that may not survive honest transparency. When you stop signaling wealth, something interesting happens. Some people drift away. What remains are connections based on shared values rather than shared spending levels. Financial modesty acts as a filter. It reveals who values you versus who values your image. There is also a security component. Visible affluence attracts attention. Scams, fraud, identity targeting all increase with perceived wealth display. Quiet financial positioning is protective. Families with significant wealth often understand this instinctively. They avoid attention. They preserve privacy. They operate below the radar. Looking ordinary is strategically powerful. The fourth reason is psychological. Hedonic adaptation is one of the most powerful forces in human behavior. You adapt to upgrades faster than you expect. Lottery winners return to baseline happiness levels surprisingly quickly. New purchases provide a dopamine spike tied to anticipation and novelty. But sustained ownership does not generate the same neurological response. Your brain is wired to pursue, not maintain, which means the thrill fades, and then you chase the next upgrade. Happiness research consistently shows that once basic financial stability is achieved, additional income produces diminishing returns on well-being. Gratitude correlates more strongly with happiness than luxury. Contentment reduces susceptibility to marketing. Experiences tend to generate longer-lasting satisfaction than possessions. Time with friends, learning something new, building skills, improving health. Possessions fade into the background. Experiences shape identity. Much spending is emotional regulation disguised as necessity. Stress spending, boredom spending, status spending. Recognizing triggers interrupts the autopilot. You move from reactive consumption to intentional living, and that shift compounds. The fifth reason may be the most practical. You need far less money to retire. Retirement calculations are straightforward. If you can safely withdraw approximately 4% of your portfolio annually, your required nest egg directly depends on your lifestyle. If you need $50,000 annually, you need roughly $1.25 million invested. If you need $100,000 annually, you need $2.5 million. Double your spending baseline, double your required freedom number. Lifestyle creep quietly pushes the finish line further away. Many people believe they need massive income increases to retire early. In reality, savings rate often matters more than income level. A person saving half of a $80,000 income can achieve financial independence faster than someone saving 10% of $250,000. Debt compounds against you. High interest obligations delay freedom dramatically. Every dollar paid toward 20% interest debt is money that could have been compounding positively. Beyond math, debt creates psychological weight. It narrows options. It reduces risk tolerance. It forces employment continuity regardless of personal fulfillment. Financial independence shifts work from necessity to choice. That shift is powerful. Time ownership becomes possible. A modest lifestyle accelerates this transition dramatically. The difference between needing $60,000 annually versus $120,000 annually may represent an extra decade of mandatory work. Frugality is leverage. It widens the gap between income and expenses, and that gap is where wealth accumulates. Quiet wealth compounds undisturbed. There is no pressure to maintain an image, no social comparison trap, no expectation inflation, just steady accumulation. Looking unremarkable is not deprivation, it is strategy. While others perform success publicly, you build it privately. And when economic cycles shift, when job markets tighten or credit conditions worsen, those with low obligations and high optionality sleep better. The spectacle of performative wealth is fragile. The foundation of disciplined accumulation is durable. The question is not whether you can afford the upgrade. The question is whether the upgrade delays your freedom. Because the ultimate flex is not the car. It is control over your time. It is the ability to say no. It is the margin between what you earn and what you require. Real wealth rarely announces itself. It does not demand attention. It does not depend on applause. It grows quietly in the background, while others chase visibility. And in the long run, quiet strategy almost always outperforms loud performance. If pretending to be wealthy requires constant spending, constant upgrading, constant signaling, then it isn't wealth, it's maintenance. And maintenance is exhausting. Freedom is quiet. Discipline is invisible. Compounding is patient. Looking ordinary might just be the most underrated wealth-building move available. The question is whether you are willing to embrace it, because the people who do rarely look rich, but they often end up truly wealthy.